Hi everybody, I'm Kathleen from LoadingReadyRun, and I'm joined with our special guest, Reuben Bresler from Magic Mike's Cast, and he was here for the Rivals of Ixalan pre-release, and now we're going to build a sealed deck together.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm very excited.
All right.
Building sealed pools is a ton of fun, especially with brand new cards. And the additions for Rivals have made sealed for Ixalan really interesting, as second sets are wont to do. And is this the last second set ever?
I think they said that this is the last guaranteed second set ever.
So we got a nice little spin down there, as you get. And we got a will it read it through the plastic? Dire Fleet Daredevil. So we got the Snap Stealer Mage, or whatever we're nicknaming it.
It's like Snapcaster for your opponent's spells.
So that is a very good card, especially in sealed. Trying to get 2-for-1s and things like that are super interesting.
If nothing else, it's a 2-1 first strike.
Yeah.
Right.
If nothing else, it's just a 2-1, but usually it snags something pretty good out of your opponent's stuff. So rare here, we got a Drowned Catacombs. Otepec Huntmaster is a decent uncommon. We've also got a Pounce, so we're leaning some good green in this one actually. We got Daggertooth, Tishana's Wayfinder, Tilania's Knight. So all the red-green dinosaurs stuff is pretty great. We've got a couple of white dinosaurs things as well. So pretty interesting pack thus far. I tend to go in Wooburg order of white, blue, black, red, green, and then everything else in an extra pile when I'm sorting out sealed pools like this. Not a ton of blue or black in that pack. We'll see how we can do.
I like how you're opening the Ixalan pack
Yeah,
first.
I want to slow roll it a little bit.
Right. Everybody else was like, let's go straight to the,
Revel in Riches. Not ideal. Raptor Hatchling, very good. Armasaur. I love a Steadfast Armasaur. This card is almost impossible to kill in combat because it can tangle with most anything without taking any damage. Got a Pirate's Cutlass, some good black removal. Commune with Dinosaurs to be able to dig deeper.
That's a Vanquish the Weak and a Skullduggery.
Yeah.
And Vanquish the Weak is actually like better than it seems, I feel.
I agree.
3 or less, that doesn't hit any of the big bombs. It's like, yeah, but it hits everybody's curve fillers.
It hits everybody's curve fillers, and there are actually some very super-powered uncommons that it hits, like Bellowing Altasaur, and some other giant things that can... Ooh, well, there's that.
Oh, my.
That's a Titsimok, the Primal Death.
I haven't seen this card yet.
So this is the Black Elder Dinosaur. We opened a bunch of the Elder Dinosaurs yesterday.
Yeah.
We both had white ones.
Yeah.
Graham had the blue one.
Yeah.
I don't think we opened any of the others, but this is our Tetsimok. So we checked that one off the list. This is definitely pushing me in this direction, because this card is a one-sided Wrath of God, especially in sealed.
So, wow, yeah. This is a very powerful card. And it has Death Touch, too. Just, that's fine.
Yeah, just because why not? And it puts prey counters on things.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Thrashing Brontodon is spectacular. It's just a 3/4 for 3. Which I would already play.
That seems
and then
fine.
Also, it lets you play a Destroy Artifact or Enchantment effect in your main deck, which is very powerful as well.
Yeah.
Got some mana fixing.
And I said this a couple times before today because we were going through and doing all this, because there's a lot of enchantment-based removal in the set.
Absolutely. The Pacifism, the Water Knot, both very, if they're locking down my Tetsimok, for example, that'd be pretty bad. Relentless Raptor is an interesting card. It's not going to push, in draft especially, it's not going to push you into red-white, but I'm happy to play it. I mean, it's really good stats. It's a 3/3 for 2 with Vigilance, but the fact that it forces you to be in combat is a little awkward.
I find that a lot of the cards in this set are sort of forcing you to be into combat. They're definitely trying to keep things aggressive, I think, in this set. Ooh, and a Bombard.
We got a Bombard, we got a Luminous Bonds, both very good. We got an Evolving Wilds in case we want to play 3 colors, along with our Stone Quarry. So we might be getting pushed in a 3-color direction. Got a Sun-Collared Raptor there. Sailor of Means, by the way, is my favorite card in sealed. It is, it lets you fix. My favorite sealed pools in any of the Ixalan formats were 5-color treasure decks, where I just had multiple Sailors, multiple Depths of Desires, maybe a New Horizons, and then I just played the best cards of all of my colors. So yeah, I love Sailor of Means. The fact that they reprinted it in Rivals hits me right in the heart. They know how to get me.
Well, everybody liked it because it was like, yes, I would like to ramp and color fix while stabilizing and staying alive.
Yeah. Sea Legs might be the best name in the set. I love the flavor of this card. Got a Hunt the Weak. That's pretty good.
Especially with your Death Touch.
Yep.
Tezmolok or whatever.
Tetsimok.
Tetsimok.
Sea Red. I haven't seen this card yet. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1 and has first strike. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't attack with a creature this turn, sacrifice Sea Red.
That's another very aggressive card.
Extremely aggressive.
Oh.
Legion Lieutenant.
I haven't really seen a lot of other vampires, but
Yeah, this pool doesn't look like it's got many vampires yet. It does have a lot of dinosaurs. Whenever Majestic Heliopterus attacks, another target dinosaur gains flying. Well, that's great. Kumena's Awakening is the rare in this pack. Probably not what I want to be doing with this pool, although in Sealed, very potent because it ends to, you don't have to play it until you get Ascend.
yeah.
And so, you know, effects like this and things like Bounty of the Luxa from Amonkhet, one-sided Howling Mines are extremely potent in slower Sealed kind of formats. Oopsie. So far, I really want to play this Tetsimok, but we'll see. Trailblazer. This Veteran is interesting. It's a 2/4 on your turn. Usually you play Grizzly Bears in Draft more than you play in Sealed because it's a slower format, but the Hardy Veteran being able to attack as a 2/4 is actually quite relevant.
Makes it really hard to kill because there's a lot of there's a lot of 2/1s and then there's a lot of 2/2s in this format, but 2/4 is here's another one.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to take care of.
Exactly, and this one's going to reduce our dinosaurs, so if we end up in like a black-green kind of dinosaur deck, maybe that would be a way to go. There's an Impale, definitely want to be around that thing.
This is just making your black look better and better.
That's right. There's a Woodland Stream. Crested Herd Caller, 6 power of Tramplers for 5 mana, quite good.
Seems fine.
Yeah.
Very playable.
Got a Famished Paladin. This is actually part of a new infinite combo that's available for Modern. If you have Resplendent Mentor, which is a 4 colorless and a white 2/2 from Shadowmoor, uncommon, that says white creatures you control gain 1 life.
Oh, yeah.
So you can just gain infinite life with this card. Not that it's a good infinite combo, but it lets you do it. And then we have a Protean Raider, which, if you attacked with a creature this turn, you may have Protean Raider enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature on the battlefield, which can be quite potent in the right kind of deck. You know, certainly quite good if you have the 6 mana 6/6s to be able to copy. So
Just don't copy any legendary creatures.
Sure. Unless it's the black-white legend Vampire Pinata and you want a bunch of vampire tokens. Got a Spirewinder. Some white removal. This card.
Oh.
Boy howdy, is this card good. Moment of Craving. Both the black and white moments of the instant speed, gain 2 life, and do something in combat are spectacular. This one in particular, because it is able to shrink creatures without triggering Enrage.
Yeah.
Which is hugely relevant.
Well, and the 2 life is not a huge amount, but this is sort of a swingy tempo-based format, so 2 life can actually be kind of important.
Yeah.
That's what we decided in our little chat podcast retrospective anyhow.
Right. So we have an Aquatic Incursion, which I haven't seen a physical copy of yet, so this is exciting. Make 2 blue 1/1 Merfolk with Hexproof. So gets you to Ascend very quickly, and pay 4 mana, target Merfolk can't be blocked this turn. So it ends those board stall situations as well. So that's quite a good card. I have the Golden Demise, the one-sided Infest, also quite powerful.
I haven't seen that card yet at all.
We have another Elder Dinosaur. Well, look at that. This time we have Itali, the Primal Storm.
Oh my gosh.
Which whenever it attacks, we exile a top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of non-land cards exiled in this way without paying their mana costs.
Well then.
I think that based on my 2 Elder Dinosaurs and my my Direfleet Daredevil, that is leaning me towards wanting to play Rakdos Dinosaurs, Elder Dinosaurs.
Yeah. Also, you've got quite a bit of good black removal as well.
A lot of good black removal. A lot of good just support cards in red as well. I have 2 copies of this Relentless Raptor. I mean, I can splash pretty easily as I have Woodland Stream. I guess Woodland Stream doesn't have either blue or black in it, but I have a Drowned Catacomb if I want to splash blue, and I have a Stone Core if I want to splash white, in addition to an Evolving Wilds. So we can see about a splash later if the black-red deck ends up being where we want to go. So we'll set that stuff aside, and let's start with these two, and then we'll work through everything else later on. So as I'm sure you've seen, I definitely agree with Melissa's version of looking and just getting rid of everything that is completely unplayable before you go too much further. All of this is great. This is not, the Fathom Fleet border, not unplayable, but less than ideal if it's just what you're playing first.
Yeah.
It's a big body, so I certainly think that it's a possible include, but I'm not excited to play it, so I'm actually going to set it off to the side.
Not unless you're doing a lot of other pirates, and we've already established you want to be in dinosaurs.
Yeah. Anointed Deacon, again, does work by itself, but a 5-mana 3/3 that attacks as a 5/3 is not where you want to be, really, with
it's
that.
good with other vampires.
I'm not sure Revel in Riches is where we want to be either. It's a 5-mana. If you're doing a lot of trading, certainly you can get there, and I don't think that we're winning with Revel in Riches that often.
It does help you ascend.
It does help you ascend. In the red-black deck, it doesn't look like we're trying to ascend very much. And the Blight Keeper, not particularly good either. So looks like we have 8, maybe 9 black cards that we are happy to play.
Right. That's a good start.
It's a good start, and we have more red cards, physically a thicker pile of red cards. So this is more like a 5-drop. Obviously, we have Itali. Shatter, not a main deck card. Always happy to play this Tillinali's Crown.
Did you find that worked out well when you saw it? Because we were like, this card actually seems like it does some work.
Absolutely. I think that there are 3 interesting modes with Tillinali's Crown. The one is giving a creature that you have +3/+0 and trample, typically on a flyer or some other creature with evasion, to be able to just close out a game quickly. The second mode, being able to remove an opponent's X1 from the board, taking out early 2/1s for 2 mana, very key, especially in a deck that has super heavy, big top-end creatures like Elder Dinosaurs. And the third mode is triggering your own Enrage, which can be very relevant, and most of the stuff that has Enrage are enormous dinosaurs, anyway, 5 power plus dinosaurs anyway, that you want to be giving +3/+0 and trample.
Right, because maybe you don't want to attack with it the turn you put that on there.
Yeah.
But it's fine if you trigger the dinosaur that does 5 damage when it gets dealt damage.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. This is a fine creature. I don't think Sea Red is probably where we want to be in this deck.
Not if you want to get to casting 6-drops.
Yeah, 6-drop 6/6s are where we want to go. Mutiny is obviously great. Another early creature. Sun-Collared Raptor is a great mana sink. In this deck, it doesn't look like we need mana sinks so much. We have super heavy removal. Tetsimok obviously is a mana sink as well, but I'm happy to play it. Bombard, the Evan Irwin Invitational card now. I'm a big fan of it. It looks like we have plenty to be able to go. Trove of Temptation is an interesting one as well.
What's that one do again?
So this is, each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least 1 creature each combat if able. And at the beginning of your end step, you make a treasure. This card saw almost no play in Triple Innistrad Limited, either sealed or draft, because it's in an awkward color to get your opponents to attack you. Now that we have more of a controlling dinosaur element, we have more creatures that trigger Enrage on turn 3, for example. I think this card's fine. And it also is a 4 that jumps us to 6 mana to be able to get us to our big idiots. So probably not going to run this still, and it's also another great way to build up to Ascend. Probably not going to run that still, but it's worth considering. Both Tillinali's Knight and Otepec Huntmaster, very good in this deck.
Otepec Huntmaster means that your
My
dinosaurs
Itali
cost less?
it costs less and has haste.
Woohoo.
So this is looking like we might be a pretty easy little sealed pool here. I sure do have a lot of 2-drops. Let's see how many cards this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So it's okay. We can run this as a 22nd card. Swashbuckling grants things haste as well. Oh, there's a Pirate's Cutlass in the sideboard. That's fabulous. As is Cobbled Wings. Both of these equipments are very good in this deck. Being able to grant our giant idiots either flying or additional power. Do we have enough creatures, honestly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, that's enough. So yeah, those are all reasonable cards. If we wanted to splash white, we have access to 2 drops, which we don't need. We could splash blue with Protean Raider, which would let us copy our legendary creatures, which we don't want to do. And there's not really anything else that we particularly care about copying other than our legends, so this is probably not what we want to
Do you feel like copy effect cards are best when you have something really good in your deck you want to copy rather than relying on your opponent's deck to deliver something?
Usually, yeah. If you don't have anything in your 23 that's worth copying, and your opponent does, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So if you have to trigger raid to copy it, then that's a bit of a bit of a problem.
Right.
You're already behind, you know, if your opponent has something worth copying, then they're going to get to untap with theirs before you get to untap with yours.
Right.
So especially with the raid one, I think you want to have one on your side of the board.
Right.
Worth copying.
But your 2 payloads are legendary, so maybe not.
Yeah.
The best.
Not ideal, absolutely. So this is a decent pile of cards. Let's take a look at our other colors, just in case there's something more. You know, we don't have to play 2 Elder Dinosaurs. We can theoretically play just one of our Elder Dinosaurs.
Right.
I'm happy with where this is, but let's see if we have something better somewhere else. Obviously, I'm happy to play that. Not particularly good, honestly, unless we put Squire's Devotion on it. I don't think that Famished Paladin, unless we're playing a very controlling deck and it's just a 3/3 blocker, then we might be able to consider it.
I mean, or you're playing, like, you're hard in on vampires and you're getting a lot of life because you're just fine with suiciding in some tokens some turns.
Yeah, absolutely. Cleansing Ray is a sideboard card. Not every deck is going to have enchantment-based removal or vampires, and in fact, those are typically the same deck. Got Illuminous Bonds, Legion's Judgment's great and limited. Could sideboard it if we have too many cards. Steadfast Armasaur and probably Pterodon Knight are both worth playing, and then some 1-drops that aren't particularly great. So we can get those out of there. Blue looked interesting. Blue looked like we had some powerful effects.
I think your black's power level is higher than your white's, to be
Yes,
completely honest with
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, I think that white is certainly in 3rd place right now. But blue had quite a few good cards. I don't love these Sworn Guardians. We have plenty of 2-drops in both, in any combination of deck that we play. So we don't need the Sworn Guardians. Shipwreck Looter, on the other hand, we can loot with, which is very relevant and sealed. A lot of card draw. So this digs us into our big dumb idiots, but a lot of double mana requirements. Not a huge payoff with blue. Also not in love with the blue cards.
Just not at the level of removal.
Yeah. And then the green was probably our 3rd place color. We had a lot of powerful things going on in green, including the Knight of the Stampede, which would make all of our legendary dinosaurs only cost 4, which would be hugely relevant. Hunt the Weak is a great card as well. We had 2 of these Jadecraft Artisans, making combat pretty miserable for anybody who's on the back foot. The Brontodon, of course. And then perhaps best to go find our legend is Commune with Dinosaurs. If we're able to dig into it, this is a great way to do it, going through a full 1/6 of your library. In fact, all of our green cards are actually pretty good.
And you have like a Hunt the Weak, which is
We have
great.
a Hunt the Weak, we have a Pounce, we have plenty of early creatures, and some stuff to do in the mid-game. So I think that we are a black, red, green is where we need to decide what we're doing in here. It's black, red, and green. We have 1 Evolving Wilds and no other.
I just checked. I was like, is there any other?
Well, we have 2 Gleaming Barriers, depending on the direction that we want to go.
Yeah, and they make treasure, right?
They make treasure when they die, and they're early defense. I think we have plenty of early defense and early plays in red. And I'm not too excited about playing a 3-color deck that has double red requirement, double black requirement, and double green requirement. And there's multiple double green requirements. There's also the Crested Herd Caller, and then we have Impale as a black double requirement, and I don't remember if there's another double in here, but not another double, but still pretty relevant. So I don't really want to play three colors. I'd much rather.
Yeah, you're in an interesting spot because all of you, like, these 3 colors are pretty good. I don't think that white and blue are nearly good enough to sort of like seriously entertain at this point. But like your deck could go any way, right? Like there's a lot of you've got some choices to make here. Like the red and the black gives you the most removal, but is is green and black or green and red going to be a little bit more like just consistent on the curve and stuff.
Yeah, and then we have 2 playable equipments as well, so that's the other thing. So looking at, I think that red is the strongest. I think that red is where we want to be the most
because it's got bombs and removal.
Right, and both of these rares are also card advantage, which is huge because we don't have any card draw, traditional style card draw, whereas this can steal a spell and this can also steal spells, honestly. A little bit of more information with the Brazen Buccaneers. I actually love all the Explore creatures.
And how demoralized is your opponent going to be when they like kill something of yours, like they fire off their like contract killing or something like that, and then you fire off a contract killing next turn. Right,
exactly. So the black, let's actually separate this by creatures. We got the creatures up there, because I think that that's going to be the most relevant decision point here. We have so many 2-drops in red, including also the Direfleet Daredevil if we really need to. So I think that what we want to support our red with is 3 and 4s, whichever of the 3, 4s, 5s, things like that. So whichever of the decks do that better, I think is probably the direction we want to go, unless we're going super aggro.
How do you feel about Mutiny? Because like it certainly is very powerful, but your opponent does need to have 2 creatures out.
That's true. It's a lot better in decks that are using enchantment-based removal. It's a lot better when your opponent has a Luminous Bonds or a Water Knot on their creature, and then they play a second creature, and you're able to kill it with the unusable tapped or can't attack or block creature. I still think it's quite good, especially in slower limited formats, because they're gonna have creatures. They're gonna go 3-drop, 4-drop. And then it's 1 mana removal whenever you cast it.
Yeah, I just remember that there's a Shadows over Innistrad version of this card, which I did not enjoy all that much.
Yeah.
But it costs a lot more.
Yeah, and costing a lot more. And Shadows was a much different sealed format than this. There were not nearly the amount of board stalls, for example, when you have a bunch of dinosaurs running into each other. So we'll see how we do with the black version here. Take a look. Again, black supplies a lot of great removal options. Plenty of 2-drops to turn on our Skullduggery as well. This actually goes down here. As you need 2 targets for the Skullduggery. You can't cast it when your board is empty. The one-sided Infest is quite relevant, although with so many 2-drops, playing Golden Demise before you have Ascend is probably going to actually be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So this is quite good. There's plenty of removal. There's enough creatures. I like what's happening with this, but I want to take a look at what the green offers before we lock anything in. All right. Because honestly, the only big game-ending creature we have is Etali. We have Tetsimok in the black version.
But your creatures are fine. What you're really running it for is like
is for the removal, yeah.
Right?
Whereas the green offers beef. The green offers, some big, even medium-sized things like Tishana's Wayfinder is quite all right. This is a lot more of a traditional-looking limited deck, in my opinion. Yeah, see, this is just a smattering of removal with a lot of just beef, crunch in the red zone kind of stuff.
And also a way to fetch up your dinosaurs.
And a way to fetch up my dinosaurs. The other thing that Commune with Dinosaurs does that's interesting is that it can get a land. And so if I wanted to splash with my Evolving Wilds, I could splash a card if I wanted to. For example, I could splash this Protean Raider in this deck. That would be fabulous because there's plenty of stuff that I want to be copying with this Protean Raider.
That's
this
a good
thing
target.
Is great.
Your Direfleet Daredevil's
a fabulous target. Even Thrashing Brontodon is perfectly fine. The Jadecraft Artisans are good. Not great, but good. So those are.
You still get the ETB effect as he enters and copies it, right?
Correct.
So
You do have to raid, so giving the pump isn't super relevant, but I have 2 fight cards, so that would be the relevant half of that. This deck is the one that definitely would want the Cobbled Wings, as opposed to the Pirate's Cutlass, just because everything's a ground pounder, and so you definitely want to be flying over the top with this deck. This looks like a solid deck. I like this deck quite a bit. Protean Raider would be a fine splash. Is there any black that I would really want to splash here? I mean, we could splash something like a Vanquish the Weak. I don't love splashing 2 colors, even for legendary.
That's very greedy.
Giant dinosaurs.
It's extremely greedy, my friend.
That is extremely, extremely greedy. This deck, honestly, could use the Sea Red. We have so many 2-drops. This could be a decent card to add here, and the Swashbuckling, honestly. And, I mean, the Pirate's Cutlass is super aggressively leaning also. This is plenty of cards, so I think that we're ending up in red-green. Unfortunate for Tetzimok. I really would have loved to have played Tetzimok.
Well, I mean, that's like a good lesson, is like, hey, don't be blinded just because you got like a flashy rare that looks amazing.
Absolutely, and I've definitely been trapped by that in the past.
Oh, me too, all the time. It's like, I want to play this. It's like, yeah, but your pool would be like 50 times better if you didn't.
Yeah, if you just stayed home and focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be... certainly would be a lot better. So we could splash a Luminous Bonds, which it ends up being way higher up on the curve because we have the red-white land and also Commune with Dinosaurs. We'll play 1 Plains, and then we also have the Stone Quarry. So we sort of have 3.5 white sources, and this is a late-game kind of removal spell if we decided we wanted to splash an extra card. Also the Majestic Heliopterus, giving all of our things flying, which is relevant for the Cobbled Wings as well. We have a Divine Verdict in here, but I don't think we need to splash anything.
But I mean, like, maybe you can if you're like, wow, there's something for example, like, if somebody had, like, their own, like,
their
super
own
powerful
giant dinosaur that I can't pounce or hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, I need to get rid of it somehow because it's out of bombard range.
Right, exactly, yeah. Then that's when you would bring in the white mana for the Luminous Bonds at that point. Wow, we have a lot of cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 creatures. We get to cut some creatures, which is nice. This deck is probably going to want to end up with 16, 17 creatures.
Well, because otherwise your Hunt the Weak and your Pounce aren't very good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very traditional numbers kind of deck, I think. I'd be happy. Some decks you want to have 20 creatures, right? If you have tons of enter the battlefield effects that you don't need the removal so much, but this isn't that kind of deck. I think we definitely want to be cutting down a little bit. So what are the cards we want? Well, obviously we want our bombs and our card advantage cards. So because we'll be able to trim down, we'll be able to cut the fat off of the aggressive end, I think. So I think that our Direfleet Daredevil and our Crested Herd Caller are excellent ways to get 2-for-1s. I really like the Jadecraft Artisans as a way to take advantage of all of our early cards. Freebooter and Brazen Buccaneers are both middling, fair to middling. We might be able to cut one of these, but honestly, in Sealed, it's such a slow format, I'm happy to play both.
But they're on the bubble right now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they're less, we'll put them at a little bit of a tilt there. To say that we can, those are less necessary. I love Thrashing Brontodon. The stats are just spectacular.
I mean, it's a 3/4 for 3, and you can, if somebody else passes it like Luminous Bonds, your dude, you could be like, well,
exactly, yeah.
I want my 6/6 more than I want my 3/4.
Right. This is excellent enchantment-based removal insurance. Tishana's Wayfinder. I love all explorers, which is why Brazen Buccaneers is going to be in the deck over the Brazen Freebooter. But both of those are very, very good. We have a ton. We don't really have a ton of dinosaurs we need this for. It's not like our deck is full of colossal 6/6 for 6s or Sun's avatars of various sizes. So this is probably a safe cut. So I'm gonna set that one aside. Ravenous Daggertooth is a great way to get into our end game as well, and the 4/2 Erazka Frillback, another really good addition.
Well, that's that's when it's dealt damage, you gain 2 life.
Right, that's the backwards frilled death raptor, or whatever it is. So I think that we'll probably end up cutting this freebooter. We'll see about that. But partially because I think that we want to be slightly lower to the ground, and I also really like this 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just visually very appealing to me.
That's kind of exactly what you want your curve to do, too.
Right. From the top end on the way down. I think that, and also this ends up over here, like off camera sometimes when you're playing giant, like Rivers Rebukes out of your opponent's graveyards or what have you. So this is 10 creatures, and I said about 16 to 17, and we have 8 here. So some of these we're going to want to cut. I think that the Otepec Huntmaster's upside is way too good with this Atali, even with the Crested Herd Collar. Just
6 power for 4 mana? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Only 3 of it gets to attack because of the haste, but
still,
I'll still take it. Tillinolli's Knight, really great with all of the dinosaurs as well. Raptor Hatchling, I think, is worth a spot. And I think all the dinosaurs are the main ones I want to keep. Mana sinks are very important and limited to be able, when you flood out, still have something to do. Evan attacked me with a 10-2 Sun-Collared Raptor yesterday. Sometimes it just gets there. So we're left with these. We have Menace on these Goblin Trailblazers. We have Gilt Rove Stalker that has some evasion, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And we have a Hardy Veteran that becomes slightly bigger on your turn. Of these, based on the fact that we have a Pirate's Cutlass, well, we have a Tillinolli's Crown, which will end up usually targeting something that isn't a 2-drop. But this is the only one of our 2-drops. Basically, we're going to end up with 7, I think 7, maybe 6 2-drops. So we'll just put these face down for now and put those over there, because I think we need to focus on the rest here. So if we decide we want 17 creatures out of this instead of 16, so we have 16, and we need to cut down to 6 spells.
Whew, those are some tough cuts here.
Which is going to be some very difficult management here. We've built this deck in such a way that it's not as low to the ground as it could have been if we played all of the 2-drops. So I think that the Swashbuckling and the Sea Red are actually not going to be what we want to be doing with this deck.
Right, because you're not just like casting as many 2-drops as possible. You want to stay alive till the late game.
Absolutely, yeah. If we had more of an aggressive, like a red-black deck or more 1-drops, then these would be much better. But I think we'll set those off to the side. I think all the removal is good. We definitely want the Hunt the Weak. We definitely want the Pounce. And we definitely want the Bombard, the traditional removal. We also have the Commune with Dinosaurs, which I really like to be able to dig into whatever we need at any particular moment. This actually, I don't know if this is an automatic include so much as certainly the Cobble Wings. I think this is a 100% a Cobbled Wings deck. None of our creatures fly, so this is a great way to get in for extra damage later on. Mutiny is good curve-filling removal, can help deal with opposing flyers as well. I think that when you have the opportunity to have removal, you just play it. Wow.
That's tough choices. So now you're down to...
I'm down to 1 non-creature spell, I think.
And you've got a Tillinolli's Crown, a Pirate's Cutlass, and a Commune with Dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's real tough. This is a tough one. Man. I don't know. I think I like... What do you like?
Well, here's my reasoning. I don't know if you have enough Enrage to make Tillinolli's Crown worthwhile.
Sure.
Commune with Dinosaurs does fetch you things, but I would just run a Pirate's Cutlass.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Again, I mean, especially if I'm running...
It's very straightforward, and it makes your dudes bigger.
Yep, absolutely. And both of these are great, and this is coming in against smaller decks, obviously, and that all makes sense to me. So I like those over there. So now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then we can choose one of these to cut.
What are the stats on Trailblazing?
Sure. So Goblin Trailblazer is a 2/1 with Menace, being able to get in there for some damage super quick. Also with Pirate's Cutlass, quite great. And with the Cobbled Wings, it's almost unblockable. They would need 2 flyers to be able to deal with it. Gilt Grove Stalker can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less.
So that makes it a safe attack, because like a lot of the times, like 2-drop.
Right, and this can just get in there for that little bit of extra damage early, especially against the smaller smaller tribes.
Holds a pirate's cutlass well at the beginning of the game.
Right.
Although, like, because it's not a pirate, it doesn't automatically attach, so
And then the last one is Hardy Veteran, which has fake evasion, because if they go 2-drop and you go 2-drop, yours can usually attack past them as a 2/4. Yeah, I don't know. I think I like all of my 1 toughness creatures slightly better
than the Hardy Veteran.
And
then maybe you swap out one of them if they have a lot of, like,
Right,
2/3s or something.
And so that's leading me towards this 23 right now. I've got a good amount of mana sinks. The other thing that I could do is I could cut a 2-drop and splash white, which was the other option that this card in particular, I really like as a main deck card.
Right, because
it jumps my team. So I could cut one of these for a Majestic Heliopterus or a Luminous Bonds.
You actually have 4 pirates, so the pirate's cutlass isn't that bad. You have a semi-okay chance of attaching it, especially if you get it
now
early.
that I have these Trailblazers, it's much, much better.
Does it make the Brazen Freebooter any better, or no?
I mean, I would rather have the Buccaneers. I think that Explore is better than making a treasure.
And you think that buffing something when it enters, giving a creature +2/+2 at sorcery speed is better than getting a treasure?
Yeah, I think so. And so we have an Evolving Wilds to be able to splash. Plus, we have 2 different options that we can splash. We can either splash blue off of our green land or white off of our red land if we want to splash. Our options for splashing are the Protean Raider, which honestly is pretty good in this deck. There are lots of things I'm interested in copying that aren't legendary Elder Dinosaurs. So that would be a fine option. We have these Relentless Raptors, which we have plenty of 2-drops, so these aren't particularly interesting. Field of Ruin can come in against any flip enchantments that we happen to play against. But yeah, the most interesting splash cards to me are the Removal and the Heliopterus, both of which are quite potent, and I would not mind playing either. Giving any of my dinosaurs flying, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dinosaurs to be able to give with flying. The extra removal spell and the enchantment-based removal spell in particular is probably the most exciting to me. I don't particularly care to splash any additional creatures. I would just be splashing for removal here, even though Steadfast Armasaur is extremely good. I can't reliably get it on turn 4, but you can play a Luminous Bonds or a Legion's Judgment or even a Majestic Heliopterus on turn 8, and it's still relevant in the game that late on. Divine Verdict as well, another great removal option. So it just depends on do I think and this was also assuming we had Commune with Dinosaurs in this deck too, which we don't anymore. So it might just be, so what I have to weigh is, do I think that it's worth splashing for a potentially 7 out of 10 card over a probably 4 or 5 out of 10 card, and at the risk,
it is easy for you to cast.
Right, but is that I'll be able to cast much more easily, and I don't think so. Like these removal spells are good, but it's not like I'm splashing a huge unbeatable bomb.
Right.
So I think that I'm sticking with the red-green, not running any of the bonus lands here. Still run the Evolving Wilds. Yeah, exactly. So 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 creatures, 6 spells, 17 lands. I think that's where we're at.
That looks great.
I really like this pool. I think this pool is quite good. I'm still very... just another moment of silence for my Tetsimok. I'm just so sad that we don't get to run Tetsimok. But there is probably a black-green pool here also. The red is quite good, and we could take a look at that, but just glancing through it, it doesn't look like...
It's not as deep as...
No, it's not as deep. We lose all of the red 2-drops.
You're running some sort of marginal green stuff in its place.
Yeah, running some really marginal green things at the cost of... I mean, we're gaining a Tetsimok and we're gaining an Infest, but that's about it in terms of, the 2-mana removal spell over this 2-mana removal spell, or this 3-mana creature over this 3-mana creature, and it's just not worth it. So I think this is the deck, despite Tetsimok. Tetsimok's going to have to live on the sidelines, and we're going to run with Etali Primal Storm red-green dinosaurs.
Sounds great. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Check out the rest of our channel for more supplemental content from the Rivals of Ixalan pre-release. See you later. Bye.